Hello, holy elemental tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy 1 Solo Challenge White Mage Edition, Game Boy Advance Dawn of Souls version, with me, BlueAnkylo. Last episode, we did the Earth Cave up to the Vampire and back, so that way we've picked up the Earth Rod, so now we're going to make our run on trying to kill, the Lich. Yeah, last episode we did a little bit of grinding and stuff. We did the old killing the mummies for experience trick. I was actually considering, and you know, I'm gonna leave specifically a save state right here. If we can't kill the Lich, I would actually like to show off the Power Peninsula to see if I could show off a few fights up there, which might speed up some experience growth, maybe, as we get into the level 30s where leveling up starts taking longer and longer. I'm not 100% sure how well that would work, but I'd kind of like to test it out for you guys. Sometimes you got to use some, you know, out there strategies to do well on a White Mage. Oh, I forgot. I don't know. I know what I did. Sorry. I forgot to tent it up before we went in there. Between episodes, I also did one other thing. I picked up some more spells. So they may or may not be of any use, but I picked up Protect, Poison A, or Poison A. It's actually like a terrible deal. You spend 2,500 gold to get the pure potion effect, which you can buy for 50 gold each. You would need to buy 50. You'd have to use Poisona 50 times to break even with just buying antidotes. And we're gonna get a ribbon before too long. So anyway, it's kind of worth a waste of money. We got the fear spell and the life spell just to make things look pretty. But yeah, that's right. That's what I did in between episodes. Okay, let's go. Also, I don't like getting ambushed by gargoyles, so we might as well just reset when that happens anyway. Come on, bats. So yeah, welcome to the Earth Cave. This is our, theoretically, final attempt to go through it with the solo challenge. The troll bats today, holy smokes. Because I say this all the time, but I'm still quite concerned about our ability to kill the Lich. I mean, we're going to deal more damage to the Lich probably per turn than the Thief. Maybe more than the Fighter. Wow, we're taking a lot of hits here. Because we've got Diaga, maybe I'm worried about it for no real reason. But I definitely feel like a couple more level ups wouldn't hurt, as is sort of tradition. Unfortunately, you know, winning these fights takes for friggin' ever. And that was a pretty bad level up. I don't think we got any stats at all other than a little bit of HP MP. Whatever, just put a save in there because I gotta level up. Because, again, you know, just to remind you guys, I don't like putting saves down every few steps when we're doing the Game Boy Advance version, just because it just feels wrong for me. But because combat takes so long as a White Mage, I also really don't want to have to redo fights, because if they're going to take a significant amount of time, I don't want to have to do that twice for nothing. So yeah, luckily, the groups of undead fall to Diera pretty quickly. Because I'm not confident in our ability to run, I figure 2 turns to get blinked will probably protect us from getting turned to stone here, better than trying to run away and failing to run and getting turned to stone, so. Looks like we got really good luck on floor 3. Again, the mages, they seem to be blessed in the Earth Cave. We, not escaping the trolls very well. Oh boy. Well, we actually died to a non-stun lock status type enemy. That was, unusual, but I guess we don't really have very good physical defense, and once you fail to run more than a couple times, I probably should have, you know, if I was smart, I would have, blinked and Cure God and stuff, but, this is more my actual dreaded fight. But I stand by that the mages, all the mages, seem to be really good at not getting hit by on-hit status effects. Because we still took quite a few blows on that last fight, and this, and none of them seem to actually apply the actual paralyzed status, so whatever the math is behind the scenes, again, I know I ramble about it a lot, but whatever the math is, the mages must have enough magic defense to make the status is just not very reliable for our poor enemy friends. Now, enemy magic that casts statuses seems to work a little bit better. I assume, you know, my hunch now, as I've, you know, gathered more data, is that the spells probably have a higher chance to affect, like casting Hold or casting Sleep Ra or whatever those kind of spells. They probably have like a, I don't know, say 70% accuracy or something like that. And then it's probably minus some magic defense number for your actual percent in reality. So it might be 70% against a black belt and minus 20% for a white mage or something, which would get you to 50 or so, which that seems like that might be appropriate for hold type spells. But maybe if you're fighting you know, paralyzed touch type enemies, maybe the percents are more like they start with 25%, which means a black belt is probably paralyzed after 3 or 4 hits pretty reliably, which is before they even get a turn. Whereas a white mage, if it's, again, say minus 20%, now we're down to only 5, and that's low enough that you can get through a couple battles without ever seeing it. That's kind of my hunch. It depends on how the math works, but I'm feeling like that might be the way. So we made it. We died once to some trolls, but otherwise a pretty clean travel. We got a couple levels up, which is definitely nice. A couple more stats. We're not going to be using our attack anyway, but more intelligence would definitely help for this fight. So let's put some boss music on, or the danger music, because the Lich, it's very dangerous. So as always, oh yeah, we're actually going to do lots of buffing. I forgot about that. So Blink first, because he's got paralyzed hits, and getting attacked, getting paralyzed via a physical attack is something we should be able to avoid. So we'll at least eliminate that. Unfortunately, we can't get around Sleep Ra, so theoretically at any time we could be put to sleep. He could cast the Hold spell, and there's not much I can do to get out of that. We're also going to go Null Elements and take half damage from all of his spells. And at that point, as long as we're kind of defensive, I think we'll be fine. Like, we could get bad luck and, you know, get hit by a Hold spell and a Sleep spell. But again, I think the White Mage is still a lot less likely to be hit by those, even if they still take effect fairly regularly. So we're at full health. Let's start using Diega to see how much damage we can actually deal to him. It's not much damage. I didn't expect it to hit very hard. That's why I was a little bit worried about our level. But, you know, he'll go down in 9 or 10 spells of that. And as long as he does physical attacks that have a hard time hitting us, we're doing really good. And we've got all the null elements, so taking 50 damage per spell is nothing we couldn't heal through. So maybe I was worried about nothing here. For one of the rare times, being slowed wouldn't even matter, unlike if you're playing as a fighter or a thief or a black belt, where getting slowed is, well, game over. You remember black belt solo, right? Again, our white mage resistance seems to be holding. We have not been put to, well, we've been put to sleep for a single turn, and we've shrugged off the other status effects pretty well. I think we've nearly got him, actually. There you go. Alright, well, I thought the Lich would put up a bit more fight. In the NES version, he's pretty easy because he's only got 400 HP, and Harm 3 will take him out in probably 3 or 4 turns pretty easily before he can kill you. So, he's, as always, the Fiends are a fair bit easier in the original game. So there we go. Cool. Now, we did burn through a lot of MP. Make sure you bring lots of Ethers. We only had one more casting of Diega before we would have had to start using Ethers to carry us, but that's something that we have access to, so no problems there. And we've got ourselves our first crystal as the White Mage solo. So we definitely did not need to go do Power Peninsula grinding like I was thinking of. I guess I've been playing a lot of Black Belt where we had to grind for everything lately, so now that we're playing as a spellcaster with a lot more like tactical options between Curaga and all the blinks and null elements, like that makes a lot of things safer, I suppose to say. So let's go pick up our canoe, and Also some level 6 magic. That'll be fun. It's really not going to be very valuable. In fact, I might not even buy any, but we'll see. I guess we'll have to start talking about what dungeon we're going to do next. The traditional answer I have is go to the ice cave, get the floater, get promoted, and get the ribbon. Or get the ribbon and then get promoted, I guess, technically. But I think you'll find that even in the White Mage's OP-ness, a solo White Mage would have a really hard time surviving the ice cave. Let's buy those high potions. Oh, right, I didn't need the money, it's fine. I was going to say, I spent all my money before I thought about it. But yeah, just to show you here, the enemies we'll fight in the ice cave, which is where we're not going to go, are these guys. So White Dragon, you could put up Null Frost and Blink, and you'd probably be okay. Winter Wolf, you'd probably want Ice Shields and Blink. Mind Flare, again, because of our sort of innate status resistance, we might be able to survive Mind Flares, but they could still paralyze and death touch you, which is pretty bad. Ice Gygus you can't run away from, so you're going to have to slowly whack them with your hammer. Spectres, I guess you've got the Diaga spell, so you probably could kill them in a single turn, as well as all the other undead. So the White Mage is definitely less susceptible to undead groups than the fighters. We don't have like Fire 2 or Fire 3, but you know, Harm 3 will probably kill these groups pretty easily. This fight would be pretty tough. You'd have to blink up and hope that he doesn't hit you very hard. Look at his 73 attack power. Like, he could hit pretty hard with his one attack. The Dark Wizard has the Rub spell, which could kill you. The Evil Eye. This is actually the main reason why we're going to not go to the Ice Cave. Because this is essentially the boss of the Ice Cave. You need to kill him to get the floater. It's not as bad in Dawn of Souls as it was in the NES version, but the only way you can damage him with a White Mage at this point is to hit him with a hammer. And he's got pretty good defense, like 30's high enough, so that your damage with the hammer is really bad, and he's got enough HP that's going to take quite a while to kill him with a hammer, and by then he'll almost certainly cast some instant death magic on you. And I mean, maybe in the remake, the White Mage is resistant enough naturally that it's not guaranteed, but in the NES version it was basically impossible, so you always wanted to go pick up the Gauntlet so you can cast Lightning 2 on him. Not that he's weak to it or anything, but Lightning 2 even by default will do more damage than your hammer, so we really want to get that. There's also the Wizards, or as they're more known as, the Pisco Demons. You can find groups of them up to like, I think up to like 9 at a time in the Ice Cave. You can't run from them, and if you have to double blink and kill them with your hammer, they've got a pretty good chance of killing you with crits and stuff. So again, that's just another one of those enemies that the White Mage just isn't really built to fight. So there's not really any spells here that are valuable. I think Protera, or Protect 2, technically increases your defense more than Protect 1 does. Like, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's sort of like Protect 1 raises your defense stat by like 12, and then Protect Protera raises the whole party's defense by like 14, kind of thing, like a little bit more. Invisera does the same as Invis, like level 1 Invis, which is still half as much as a Blink, so that's garbage, and this is arguably garbage. Exit is great, but we have to get promoted, and Stona, well, doesn't really work when you're solo, so. Unfortunately, level 6 White Magic not going to help us yet. And that's why we didn't come here early, because it would not have helped us with the Lich fight at all, I don't think. Okay, so I guess, if you haven't guessed, we're going to go to the Citadel of Trials and try to pick us up a Gauntlet and also some ring. We're going to get a better ring. And what else? Gauntlets, the Zeus's Gauntlets, depending on what you want to call them. The gold ring or ruby armlet. And something else. The tail, of course, the rat's tail. So, the White Mage does usually have a fairly difficult Citadel of Trials attempt. There are definitely some enemies in there. We talked about all the Ice Cave enemies and why we're going to avoid them. And Here we are stuck fighting Sahagins forever. I didn't really talk about the Citadel of Trial enemies. There's Mind Flayers again. There's Medusa, who can turn you to stone, just as good as the cockatrices could in the Ice Cave. There's, what else is in the Castle of Trials? There's the Red Gargoyles, or Argoyles. They can stun you, or cast Hold on you, one or the other. They're pretty bad. There's lots of big enemies that are fairly easy, but there's a lot of the encounters are status death, basically, so we're still going to need some luck. The good news is it's a bit shorter than the Ice Cave. Let's see if I'm on course here. Oh yeah, way off course. I used to think as a kid that the northern half of the world, the ocean, would be more dangerous, but it's not. You get the same encounters anywhere on the ocean. Even though Sahagins are starter sea area enemies, same thing up here. Okay, so one of the deadly areas is just the overworld. The actual land around here is pretty scary. But you don't have very far to walk if you take a boat. So there is an argument for going to the Castle of Ordeals by boat rather than by airship, but I usually go by airship if I have the option, just because I like the airship. It's more convenient, and taking the boat up here takes a fair bit of time anyway. Okay, so Castle of Trials, Citadel of Trials, whatever you want to call it. Let's do this thing. I suppose if you were playing a solo challenge, you should probably have memorized the teleporters. Otherwise, the dungeon is pretty long. If you have to experiment with them, the dungeon takes a long time, and you're probably going to get a lot more encounters that can kill you. So, you know, part of the solo challenges are kind of knowing the maps pretty well. Now those guys, the Rakasa or Man-Cats, they're another one of those enemies that actually got weaker in the remake, because they only have level 1 and 2 spells. They don't have access to Fire 2 and Ice 2. They have like Fire 1, Ice 1, and Blizzard 1, however you want to think about it. So they actually did a lot more damage in the original. Yeah, Zombles, that's a really good fight for us. That's an enemy group that you could have found in the Power Peninsula. And I think as soon as you get to Melmond, you could probably go fairly easily grind there against certain enemies in the Power Peninsula. Maybe we'll go show that off after this, because it's kind of on the way back. This is a bad fight. There we go, we got away. This one you can also just run away from. They hit pretty hard, though. Wow, I didn't even get 2 chances. Alright. Oh, I didn't even mean to save in the middle of the dungeon. That was my mistake. Oops. I must have got like a level up or something. So I guess against clay golems, because they hit so ridiculously hard for a poor white mage, we should probably blink up and then escape. Try to stay healed. I could have always used a Curaga mid-battle. That's kind of smart. Of course, this time we get lucky and escape easily. Okay, so the gauntlets is the main item we were looking for. Oh, again, I'm like automatically using my extra saves. I totally didn't even mean to. But yeah, now that we've got gauntlets, this is our... Finally, we've actually got an offensive option. So that's the main reason the white mage goes here. It doesn't always do a ton of damage against certain enemies. Like, you know, if they're not weak to it, it's not going to be doing hundreds and hundreds of damage. But especially in Dawn of Souls, the white mage gets pretty good intelligence growth. So your gauntlets damage will grow as the white mage gets higher leveled. And that tends to work out pretty well, even if the enemies aren't weak to it. Although in this situation, it'd be silly not to use the spell they're weak against, because it's more effective. I'm just kind of curious how... I guess physical attacks against mummies, king mummies, not the best idea. We got ourselves some decisive battle here. Alright, more of these devils. But yeah, I mean, until you get the Zeus's Gauntlet, you've got no good way to kill non-undead enemies. So this opens the game up quite a lot. Just by having this, we could probably go to the Water Temple and get pretty far into it, because we do bonus damage against basically any enemy in there. Everything's either undead or water element, which is weak to lightning. So these guys, we'll kill them. Now that I've got the gauntlets, I feel a little bit better about fighting random encounters and not trying my luck to run. It's not going to kill everything quickly, but it's a heck of a lot faster than bonking them with your hammer. I guess we'll get the healing staff just for fun. Wonder if you can even equip that. You totally can, and it's terrible. That's sad. 108 damage. Well, we're going to get a good defensive upgrade as well. Just to compare here, how's our physical? 1 damage. Yeah, that's why we're using the gauntlets, guys. As the enemy's defense keeps growing, you definitely find that a white mage, your physical attack really can't keep up. I wonder if I should try or if I should just run. I don't know. You know, it was a preemptive strike. I think I could have ran for free. I probably should have done that. If I get paralyzed here, I'm going to be really angry. Okay, good job resisting. Don't fight those guys. Just get out of there, basically. I wonder if Diega would kill the wizard or the king mummy. Again, I think they used to be wizard mummies, weren't they? Holy light. Kill. Not enough damage. There you go. See you later, king mummy. Not terrible for experience, but we could probably do better for grinding by now. Go fight some zombies. Alright, there we go. We get a nice big defense upgrade here. This will definitely make the ice cave a little bit easier, so no reason not to pick that up. You mainly come for the Zeus's gauntlets, but, you know, that helps. Alright, we could easily die here. Now, if I remember correctly, they don't actually have a lot of HP. They're weak to fire, but we don't have access to fire. So let's see if this is let's see if our luck holds. Yeah, they have pretty low HP, so now they've got the Zeus's gauntlets. It's a much better way to kill them than trying to smack him with a hammer. Even that mummy damage adds up pretty quick, and we've got the ruby armlets on, so... I mean, that's kind of the issue, of course, is you've got to win fights fairly quickly as a mage because you take so much damage, unless you want to bother blinking up every fight. Alright, well, I'll take the experience. These aren't that hard to win. You know what? I think the gauntlets were doing 82 damage. If mummies only have 80 HP, I don't need to waste MPs casting casting Dira. We might as well just use the gauntlets to kill the full group. That's probably... I mean, it depends on your intelligence and your level. Like, as you get better intelligence, it's a lot easier to just wipe groups out like that. Alright, Dragon Zombie, how you doing? You wanna get Sean on? They're pretty tough. If you're playing Solo Thief, they are pretty hard to kill, because they do a lot of damage and they can stun lock you. Especially in the NES, I mean, more so than the Dawn of Souls. Anyway, that's it. I guess we took 1 death from the clay golems. No status deaths, because the white mage's magic resistance seems to be carrying us. I believe this is the only place the boat can dock on the northern half of the map like that. Like, there's no other rivers that touch the ocean, and there's no ports. So, in case you're wondering, there's not really anything else you can do via ship up here. Not by normal ship, anyway. So that's Matoya's Cave. What I'm going to do is use a really... This is probably the least used port in the game. This is... I don't know what this port is for other than to go to the Power Peninsula. So we're northeast of the lower continent. But we're going to stop by the Power Peninsula just to show off a potential grinding spot if you're curious. I don't think you need it. In fact, I'm pretty much 90% sure you don't need to use this for anything. But it might be an option if you're struggling as a white mage. I tried to show it off as the black mage, and it was not terribly successful. We'll see if the white wizard or white mage has a bit more luck. Let's tent it up. The convenience section, of course, is if you can restore your MP cheaply via tents and cottages, which unfortunately we can't buy cottages. But yeah, like, this is a fight that maybe the gauntlets can win us. If you didn't have the gauntlets, you'd have to go double blink, null frost. It looks like we're just a couple levels lower than a single gauntlet would probably work. A little bit more intelligence buffing the damage, and I think they'd all die in one cast. But 2 is still a lot better than trying to do it physically. Like, I guess I just wanted to show off that you can fight up here once you pick up the gauntlets. Maybe I'll show off a fight as if we didn't have the gauntlets, though, just to show what the White Mage would be made of. Well, this would be a perfect fight. So if you were a White Mage and you came up here before you killed the Lich, all you would want to do is blink up twice. Hopefully you'd survive long enough to get a double blink. Maybe even a triple blink. Probably a triple blink. They're not missing much. Let's be clever, go extra blink just to be safe. And if you're playing the NES version, 2 blinks should be enough. And also you'd have access to houses for full MP. These guys, if you've got Harm 3 or Diega, they should go down in a couple casts. And it's great experience. The problem is, you just don't necessarily get this encounter very often. But this is the best encounter for the White Mage to grind on, I think. If you could guarantee that fight, you could level up super, super fast to get ready for the Lich. So, like, you know, if you're playing along, say, on the NES version, or you're planning to one day, definitely give this a try before you go to the Lich. I think the Mummy area might be quicker, less experience per fight, but guaranteed the right fight. But, you know, while we're doing the Mummy grinding, you could try to come up here and do some Zombol grinding. The Heal Gygases, if you don't have the gauntlets, are going to kind of suck. Again, because you've got access to Blink, you can technically win almost any encounter. But without the gauntlets, you'll be doing 20 or 30 damage a hit. And, sure, you'll win eventually, but it's not very good for time. Like, especially if you're playing it without super speed, this is going to be like a 5-minute battle that gives good experience, but for the time, it's kind of, well, 2,000 experience is not bad. But for the amount of time it takes, that's not super effective. There's a couple other encounters you can get up here. Let's just see what we get. Just for interest's sake, right? Yeah, the Allosaurus, or Tyro. So these guys are also pretty good for experience. The problem I remember having with them in the NES version is, I think they have a pretty good critical chance rate. So even though you're blinked up, they have a pretty good chance of just hitting you with a crit and doing like 300 damage anyway. I don't know if that translates. He got 1 crit in there, I think. I don't know how well the critical rates for enemies translates into Dawn of Souls. A lot of the critical chances were just bugged in the NES version, so who knows if it was working as intended or not. Maybe one more fight just to see what we get. These guys again. Alright. So, instead of the bonking strat, if you have access to the gauntlets and you're worried about the ice cave, you can totally just do this a few times. And we're doing, what, 80 or 90 damage a pop? Yeah, it's not bad. 3 turns to kill a bunch of giants. That's actually, I would say, a reasonably good place to grind if you needed to grind at this level. You probably don't need to, but if you feel the desire, some people like grinding, you could totally get to like level 50 before the ice cave. And you can play some glorious music to celebrate your new levels. Yeah, level 37, I bet you could get all the way to level 50 there without... It wouldn't take too long. But, I mean, I've got better things to do. We're not going to do that right now. I like getting a couple level ups here and there, just to spread the grinding around, but... This river system's a bit dangerous as a White Mage. Probably... It depends if the gauntlets will kill the Crocs in one hit or not. We'll find out right here. Yeah, probably would have been smarter to blink up first. These enemies get quite a lot of damage. I can't remember exactly what HP the crocodiles have, but like we're basically dead. Unless I can get this Curiga off instantly. Oh, good luck. Well, that's one of the advantages of being a White Mage, right? You can actually heal yourself for a large amount. Barely enough. Wow. Yeah, double Hydra, triple Croc. That's a pretty bad encounter. I don't think the Hydras are actually weak to lightning, sadly. Better put another save down, because a little bit dangerous paddling along here. Well, the preemptive strike will help. I should be able to kill most things before they get a turn. I guess the Ochu is weak to lightning. Or just lower magic defense, maybe, I don't know. I think that was bonus damage, honestly. But yeah, you could have tried to come to the ice cave before you had the gauntlets. These fights you probably would have to run away from without the gauntlets. I mean, You could blink up and kill them eventually, but it would be pretty slow. I'm still going to blink up here because the White Croc, I think, can hit for hundreds of damage. It's a pretty powerful enemy this early, oddly enough. Don't disrespect the White Croc. I think he's weak. Is he weak to lightning? In the original game, he had a weird weakness. Like, I think he took like half damage from lightning in the NES one or something. Like, it really always threw me off. It may have been one of those ones where the manual spread out spreadsheet type thing was like backwards and it gave you the wrong element for him or something. I forget exactly, but I've got that memory that the White Crocs were unusual for some reason. I really like how much HP we've got. Remember with the Black Mage? We were like level 70 before we had this much HP. Like, the White Mage is a lot more like a Dungeons & Dragons cleric, getting maybe not a lot of strength and defense, but the actual HP numbers are really good. The Dungeons & Dragons clerics got a D8 per level up, whereas originally Wizards had like a D4, I think. So yeah, they would have got quite a lot more. Well, unfortunately, we can't just keep playing forever. We're going to have to take a break here. We did successfully kill both the Lich and successfully survive the Castle of Trials, or Citadel of Trials, or Castle of Ordeals, or, you know, whatever. Ordeal Trial Land. The gauntlets will definitely help. The Ruby Armlet will make a bit of a difference. And getting those extra levels up before we go in here will probably make things a little bit smoother. So, yeah, wish me luck. Next episode, we will try to blast through the ice cave and get into flying ribbon mode, which is always fun. Thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you next time.